Welcome to the abbreviated non-agenda open mic. We do this call for MSPs because you folks wanted to hear what's new with the platform, what bugs we fixed, what features are there, and I'll do a little R&D or rob and duplicate of automation ideas from your peers. If you are new here and you are a like a C-level or founder or CEO of your MSP, this is a highly technical call for folks that are building automations so that they can get ideas of what to automate for you. It may seem overwhelming for you, but for the right tech, it may not be overwhelming. So please get them on the call. Don't forget to add time savings, and don't forget to use Discord. You can get in Discord and you can ask questions because asking questions is important. I can count, let me see, how many MSPs, who am I going to ask?
Well, I know this one.
Who is that? Who was that? Michael?
Michael.
All right, Michael, how many MSPs have been successful with automation that have never asked a question?
I think it was 200, 642, 73, no, zero.
Yes, Michael, you fit right in. Thank you for voicing the number. Yes, zero. One of the key indicators of what I believe shows whether or not an MSP will succeed in automation is whether or not they think they're an expert. If they're an expert, they'll likely fail because they won't ask questions. But if they think they're a noob and if they think they can't do it and if they think they got a lot to learn, those are the folks that typically succeed and end up automating a lot of things. I don't have flow to announce, but maybe I can start reminding folks in 3 to 6 months about flow. And with that, I may drop here momentarily, but I just wanted to say happy 4th to the folks in the U.S. And thank you for everyone outside of the U.S. that joined today. I'm going to pass it over to Ashe.
Thank you. And before you go, Michael joined today specially, I believe, because he just became certified and he wanted to hear his name shout out. Unfortunately, we're not actually going to be able to do an education outlet.
Can I shout out his name?
Yeah, I want to shout out his name.
Michael, congrats on your certification. Which MSP are you
Thank
with?
you, Mike. MyTech.
Well, we look forward to seeing now a small, simple workflow that you built from scratch that provides you some level of value in the next week or two on the open mic. What do you think?
I will do my best.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Aaron. Happy 4th. Yeah, okay, so it's kind of funny. Yeah, I kicked out all of the bots. So the 30 of us real human AI humans that are in here are actually all here for this. We have no agenda other than we've got 2 people who have graciously offered to show some stuff off, both of which sound pretty cool. And we've got a bunch of people who can chime in or ask some questions or offer to show anything off. George tried to volunteer me to coerce me to do a live session converting one of the things that I've made. So maybe you guys can like come up with other things instead of that, because makes me feel anxious to do that.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. I think you don't have to build it in Rewst, but I still think people on the call, for anyone who hasn't seen it, would still be interested in seeing it in case they missed it on LinkedIn earlier this week or last week. It's a pretty fun tool that I think adds a lot of value to a world full of unwanted solicitation.
We'll see at the end. We'll see. If we do it, we might as well put it into Rewst because of how easy it is. But let's do some other stuff first. Before we go to read. I want to kind of put an open floor out there. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up or ask or discuss before we move on into the demos? Even Rewst people, if you're on and you wanted to shout anything out. Goes for you too, George. The gentlest, guys.
I hate long silences, so I'm just gonna say, everybody that loves Rewst should raise their hand.
Everybody that what does?
That loves Rewst.
Raising the roof. Okay. Now that that's on video, all the raising of the roof. Okay, cool. Now you confused me because I was like, oh, are those actual hands up? Jason, do you actually have your hands up? No, okay. All right, we will jump right over to Reed.
All right, well, happy Independence Day for all the Americans that decided to join us. I did a thing, and I think the easiest thing is just to share. So I've got this little app builder app, and if we click that link, it takes a second to load. And here are all of my workflows in folders.
Holy.
So yeah, it kind of explains
I love
itself. So let me get into how we got here, because it also, I've got this little icon, and we end up with a cute little companion app that you can see really quickly gets us to our folders and workflows. So I was walking the dog and had an idea of how to solve this, like how to take the tags and even that first word in brackets in the title of a workflow and treat that as a single index that could then be used to sort and organize it and build a folder tree from that index of tags. But I was really struggling to like work out the logic of that in the Jinja. And I've come to find out the whole reason is I didn't realize you had to put the little minus tag in your comments. And so it was my damn comments were like, would insert these junk characters. And it was just, so anyway, I decided to just in VB where I'm most comfortable, work out the logic of how to do this. And by the time I was done with that, I was like, this is kind of I like the program, so I decided to finish it. So, it's real basic. Like, the first time you run it, you'll get presented with this screen where you just put in your webhook and your secret. We'll look at that in a sec, but there's nothing to it. And then, you can view your different tags. I went ahead and gave it a search. So if I want to do like PowerShell, then I can get, all of those that are and jump to that in here and then, pull it right up. So, I wound up just kind of finishing the app and all it cares about is this real simple workflow that just lists your workflows, list your forms, combine those together, return that. And then, it's just got a basic webhook wait. Once I had that worked out, then I was able to kind of come in and do the Rewst version of that with the help of Copilot in Visual Studio, and Visual Studio Code has gotten so good. So it helped like generate the HTML for, you know, the collapsing view. And then I was able to modify that to use icons and just kind of spruce it up, steal Rewst's CSS, so forth. So again, it just starts by getting your workflows and getting your forms and combining those together. But then here's where, you know, we start actually doing work of building our basic result object, some functions, macros to, you know, normalize the names, do the index comparison of, you know, treating an array of tags as if they're an index, helper function for seeing if a folder's, you know, contains a particular index. And so, yeah, then we just basically go through that list of workflow results and build up the tree. And then we go back through where we sort the tree, and then we go back through all of them and assign them to their appropriate node. And so once we've got that kind of root tree item built up with all the correct nodes underneath, we can take that and feed it into, this could be a template, but basically we've got our HTML now that's gonna dump out the output page. And so again, we're just returning that in a output variable. And of course our webhook is configured to wait. And so we get those results back. Now, we don't actually use the webhook for the app, but we can use the webhook. That's a different story, but this workflow then in that result can be utilized in this app, which is, again, really simple. It just is an HTML container that displays the result from that other workflow. And so with all of that, I wanted to be able to share it. So I have this little workflow, and if we get our webhook from this, and we copy and paste that in, and then I will come over here in the chat and paste that same webhook for all of our attendees. This will let you download the installer package for the desktop application directly from this page. So it's literally embedded. Or you can go to the GitHub repository. So I wanted to make all the code transparent. You know, if I'm going to offer you a compiled executable, you should be able to go see what's in it. And then the other link will take you to the exports of the workflow and app builder app if you want to run this in your environment. So this is kind of version 1. This is the automatic option. I've already got plans to extend this so that you can kind of maintain a index of your tags so that you can give them an order and priority and then build the tree according to how you want your tags to relate to one another. Right now, it's all just alphabetical. So every combination of tags, regardless of what order they're in, are treated as a unique combination, and then that combination is alphabetized. And then the tree view is just built from there. Which, like I say, it isn't bad, but like I've got DFT here with folders under it, but in other places, or like here, Agent Smith, because agent comes first, gets its Rewst tags in here, even though we've got, like here's a Rewst task that other task could be in if it was in the Rewst folder. So it might be nice, but I was pretty happy with just getting this out of it. And I think this is kind of the main thing that people have been asking for is just kind of the ability to browse your workflows as a basic folder tree. So that's it.
Reed, can you explain to people a little bit about what people were kind of going crazy? I think Kelvin and Logan were like wowing about your VB usage and your actual .NET knowledge there. Can you kind of explain, like, you're not just a dabbler there, are you?
Oh, no. Well, my story goes back to like 2000, when at the job I was at the time, there was this copy of VB6 floating around, and I knew BASIC from a kid with like Commodore 64. And so this VB6, nobody was using it. It was just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. And I thought, I started piddling with it. And as I was searching the 2000s internet, to try and find help, I kept running into this thing that was like, well, it's really hard to do what you're trying to do, but this new thing called .NET will make this so much easier. This new thing called .NET. And so I managed to get into the beta of this new thing called .NET. And so had like .NET 1.0 in late 2000. And that grew a whole series of basically this kind of community thing, right? Like going on forums, participating, asking questions. I started to really get the hang of this whole VB.NET thing, and talking to people way smarter than me, like computer science people who were coming from like C++ and other versions of Windows forms, and kind of embracing this .NET thing. And it didn't matter whether you were VB or C#. I was in a Windows forms forum. And yeah, like, so you make friends there, you know how it goes. And then one day Microsoft buys your forum because Microsoft doesn't have forums yet. They've got this MSDN program that's, this developer network, but there's no community. It's just, it's the big box of colorful CDs and DVDs. Anybody remember the monthly shipments of colorful DVDs? I used to threaten to build like, massive, what you call them, the hanging things, right? And like put them up over town, wind chime kind of. So anyway, Microsoft,
Mobile.
Yeah, mobiles. Thank you. Microsoft wanted a community, and so to start it, they went out and bought the most popular developer forums at the time, and so this windowsforums.com became the initial VB.NET and C# forums that exist today. So I was just automatically like in the .NET forums at their creation with a bunch of content and questions and answering questions. And so I just continued to do that. And literally one day, a couple years later, maybe, I don't remember, like it must have been 2005 or 6 by then, maybe 2006. There was a thread going where somebody was just off on their tangent about like Deck Alpha or something, and how it was, and it just turned into like what could have just been a discussion to something ugly with like a lot of like hate speech and just ugly. And so it got to a point where I couldn't change the direction of the thread. So I emailed an admin, and said, hey, you should take a look at this thread. A couple hours later, I got an email back that was like, we've made you a moderator of the forums, handle it. Some of us here feel like you probably should have been a moderator for a while. So yeah, just go ahead and take care of this one. So I did. And that led to being kind of becoming the head moderator of the VB.NET forums for like 10 years. And in that course of time, they started with like their community awards program. So I won a couple of those. They were really heavily trying to push TechNet. Like TechNet was supposed to be like what kind of GitHub has become. TechNet and CodePlex kind of together. So I wrote some articles for TechNet competitions to try and get energy around that. And then eventually got nominated and given the MVP award for .NET developers, and then was an MVP for like 5 or 6 years. And then got into a different life relationship, found myself with 4 kids, and time and priorities changes, and suddenly you can't make those community contributions to keep up anymore. So yeah, there's my eat up some time so Ashley doesn't have to do a presentation background story.
I appreciate your background story. Actually, I did want to go somewhere with this point though a little bit, because when we talked early on, we were struggling to kind of articulate the value of Rewst for somebody kind of with that wealth of, bare metal knowledge, and like not bare metal, you know what I mean? Like with that deep knowledge. And what was like, you kind of had that turning point at one point where it was like that realization of like, oh, I shouldn't be trying to use it for what I can do elsewhere. And then realizing like, oh, here's what his value is. But then it's almost kind of funny because like to see that transcendence of, oh, now I can play with and do the stretching of the bounds of what these things are. So
Yeah.
just wondering where that time was for you.
I definitely was, before we found Rewst, Azure, and asking the shop to because in my situation, I'm in Pennsylvania, the MSP is in California. So, I'm 100% remote and have access to cloud resources and whatever they'll stage in the office in California. So it would ask them to stand up a desktop or something to be the source to run this piece of code that was talking to the APIs in our different solutions, right? Your ConnectWise, your RMM. And yeah, at first it was, yes, I can do some of these things in Rewst, but man, it's so difficult. I would be done already if I just wrote the VB.NET app and staged it somewhere. But then I have to keep up with it. And I don't know what it was. I bet it took over a year for me to really kind of get where I was like, no, workflows are the first answer. Always go workflow first. And only if I can't workflow it will I resort to actually spinning my own app. And that's 100% where we are now. Even we have clients that want code solutions. It's like, well, let's see, what can I use, but something in the platform to do that versus just writing you something.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, I guess like Jim Barry, when we talked to Flo, when Brian and I talked to Flo, it was kind of like from the perspective of the mindset that goes into both of those things, right? It's like you have to work harder to retrain your immediate reaction if you are in a tool versus ones that you have exposure to versus somebody, and just like AI, right? Whereas now you have some access to something that enables you in ways that you weren't enabled before. Those people who have that beginner's mind and who didn't have those constraints can sometimes pick up on the quicker things quicker, but then with time and patience and that intentional strategy, they can have really cool things like what Reed shows too.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if you want to see any of the code in more detail on any piece of it, whether it's the .NET side, the Jinja side, or we can move on to the next one.
Yeah. And then
Actually,
if there,
on that note, yeah, just coming from very much a C# background, yeah, this has kind of opened my eyes that not necessarily everything 100% needs to be a flow, right? If there's something that you just can't really do exclusively in a flow, then yeah, that's
also the right job.
I think that's
the
awesome.
Opportunities to integrate with your workflows via the webhooks. I have another little thing that I don't know if I should show. Here, let me.
I think you
Jump-
should. I think you absolutely
Well,
should.
hold on though, before you just go and being all encouraging, which I absolutely understand, but
This is the call that we can accidentally lose the recording of. It's okay.
okay,
He's
but
gone, right?
well, so this happened.
Oh, he's still here.
I had to save this screenshot that I just dumped in chat because to me this is like proof perfect why Discord is where tech support should happen because you could have this kind of exchange. But the point of that exchange is that the Rock was a little wishy-washy about whether or not we should do this, and so I mean I can show you. Let me find the right thing.
We'll just put a disclaimer on anything that we need. We've got some people in here who can throw disclaimers on things. I see Ben. He's lurking.
Okay. What you're about to see should not be attempted at home. This is let me get rearranged here. All right, so opened in the wrong spot. This webhook can do something kind of neat. So if you're willing to put your if you're willing to put your secret in a URL, then this will call another waiting webhook, passing the secret and allowing you to get that result back in a browser. Which, like I say, it opens up some more possibilities for how you can communicate with your webhooks. Fairly simple. Generates a page with some output if needed. Actually, is this the right one? Because I have a couple. Let me look. Pretty sure this is just call it by itself. Yeah. So there was nothing for it to do. Now, I happen to have a, let's grab this one. So something I was playing with, but this basically, this entire page is the result of a webhook. Let me see, let me get a different one that I've done before. Something that'll take a little longer to run. Oh, okay, so this is back to the webhook that's on the folders page. So that webhook that we saw here. But yeah, so with a fairly simple, just empty workflow with a properly crafted response, you gain the ability to call your waiting webhooks from a browser as a GET and just return that. And technically this could be modified, I think, because you have access to the request, to make the return type a parameter from strip it out of the query string, I think. Or somebody at Rewst can confirm if that would work. So yeah, anyway, the point was like more ways that you can interact with your workflows from other places, even if you don't have, oh, go ahead.
No, I was about to just rally behind what you were saying. Agreed. I've been focused on so many things to try and show, like, who needs APIs? Just have like query parameters and webhooks, and then you've got everything you need. But maybe actually that can be what I can show you guys after, if there's still some time for anybody who wants to see it.
So
But
I have not
first-
yet put the redirect in a GitHub, but that's because it's kind of the Rock's answer as to how much they want that shared. I mean, I'm happy to share this solution if somebody here wants it, but I don't know if it should be linked publicly.
We'll get clarification on that. Cool. All right. So that was fun. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Reed. You got a lot of reactions there. Let's jump now. We're going to do something a little bit more grounded in the actual workflow engine, if I'm correct, right, Christopher?
Yeah, hey guys. So that's definitely a tough act to follow, Reed. That was really, really cool. Mine is much more simple. Little background on me. I work for MSP in Vancouver, Canada. We've been using Rewst for just under 2 months now. We went to Flow last week, and it definitely changed my mindset on a lot of things. So when we got back, I started talking to my tier ones and asking a lot of questions, like what are some tasks you guys have been doing a lot of lately, and kind of just started from that point. And this week, I worked on a very simple, good time-saving workflow for my tier ones. We have a lot of clients who do a lot of external sharing through SharePoint, which requires a Microsoft invitation. So let me go ahead and share my screen quickly. All right.
I love your background.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know where I got it. I just Googled like cool Tokyo background and I like that one, so I just kept it. So super easy workflow. A small win for us this week. Got it working 100%. So this workflow basically checks your ticket, updates a ticket, creates a ticket, sends an invite through Microsoft to the 365 tenant, which is an email to the end user, which they can accept and gain access to the tenant. This workflow is in a little bit of a development stage. We want to add more to this. We want to make it so that we can actually choose the security groups for the SharePoint sites. So it's kind of an all-in-one form, because a lot of the times, we go log into 365, we send the invite, we go add them to the security group, and then kind of wait for them to accept their invitation. So this is kind of part one to this workflow. There's not too much to it. It's very simple. Tried to simplify it as much as I could using some of the subworkflows, and it seemed to work really well. So I was really happy with it. Everything's labeled, so you guys can kind of see what I've done here. Just used basic default Microsoft invitation parameters. Created the form for it. Let's see here. So here's the simple form. Again, this is in development stage. We're going to add a couple more things, like which security group you'd like to be added to, and then possible SharePoint site or a SharePoint folder. That's going to be a little bit more in depth, but I'll get there. So for this one, I'd like to just show a quick demo. So we have, I'm going to, do you know what? Yeah, let's just start it with a new ticket. So I have, let's see here. I created a Gmail today for this demo, so my email doesn't get doxed. So super easy, submit it. We'll go look at the result here. There's a lot of testing, as you can see. So obviously it succeeded, which is really cool. And then in a minute or so, you should get the email from Microsoft. And there it is. And they can go accept the invitation. Which brings them to, their guest access for 365. This is a huge time savings for us because we have a lot of clients who do this, and it was getting really annoying having to log into the tenants all the time. we haven't launched it officially in our org, but by next week, everyone should be using it. So I'm quite happy to see, or I'm excited to see how it's going to be with the text. And I might actually start giving it to some of our client champions to self-serve with it. But I'm just not at that stage yet. I still want to modify this and add those security groups and SharePoint sites. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's super simple. Just wanted to keep it quick. Just super happy that I was able to get one workflow working made in-house. Spent a lot of time, learning Rewst. I'm quite new to it, so this was like a super cool win for us. Been using a lot of the out of the marketplace crates. So I was just really happy to get something working, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is awesome. Did you say that you're using the existing create sub workflows there? Did I hear you right?
Yep, that's correct. So basically just update ticket or create ticket. And then in the Microsoft Graph workflows, there I found the send invite, which helped me put this all together. Because beforehand, I didn't see this in the send invite workflow. So I was trying to do it from scratch and I was having a really hard time. But then I was like, let me just look again. And I found it and I was like, okay, this is awesome. So it made this workflow setup very, very easy.
That's cool. And you said you said you were inspired from Flow to do this. Like you went home, you went back and
yeah. So yeah, being at Flow, like it changed my mindset on how I think about automation and making this easier for my techs. I was kind of just giving them stuff like, oh, here's this workflow, you can use this, or here's this form, you can use this. And I wasn't really talking to them about like what their daily tasks and things they would like to see automated. And this is one of the big ones that came up in a discussion. And so I kind of made it my priority to get this one done for them, just based on time savings and ease of use. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love that. Anybody have any questions for Chris or any other questions in general here?
I don't know if you saw the chat, but was that shaped like a bird on purpose or coincidentally?
I try to make some art with the workflows, but yeah, that was coincidental on that one.
Connoisseur.
Awesome.
I think the open mic needs a new section specifically to sort of Rorschach test everyone with different workflows. Just say, what do you see in this? And then go continue the open mic.
I love that. That's awesome.
All right. Does anybody else have anything that they want to do or talk about or show off? Otherwise, I guess I'll do something.
I could show off something non-automation.
Well, color me intrigued, Calvin. Color me intrigued.
Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. I have to grab it first. That's one. That's two. Okay, so now, hold on. Shit. They're gone. Sorry about that. I lost them. Oh, no, wait. I know where I put it. There it is.
I love it.
It's so stupid.
I always
so
knew you were
much fun.
extraterrestrial. I just didn't realize you were related to ET.
Oh, wow. So that was my non-automation demonstration. That's it. I hope you enjoyed.
All right. Well, I guess I'll show something off. I'll show you guys.
Andrew has his hand up.
Andrew, what's up?
Oh, Andrew, you got your hand up, Andrew.
If you don't want to show something, I can show something.
You can go, Andrew. Yes.
Might as well. The Rock actually helped me with this. Let's share this entire screen. Why not?
I see a medieval mace in this one. A bludgeoning tool.
Where did I put it?
A kite flying, no, or
Here
sail
it
on a
is.
ship.
I see a spatula.
I saw a ladder.
Hot air balloon.
So this is the rock helped me out a little bit with this one, which was awesome. So I bumped into the bug where custom integrations don't return results in the header. So you have no result, and the pagination in Mail Protector is in the header. So you kind of run into a wall where you can't get any more than the default from Mail Protector unless you do some fun loops. So this is my solution to getting the information from Mail Protector. So I'm checking. I have where is it? I have an org variable for the reseller ID. So I have to get the reseller ID to get Mail Protector to work. And then once I get that, I have to set some variables for the pages and the last API response so that I can loop through it. And then I create the loop. So the Jinja for the loop, super simple, just reading the headers. And then it does the next page call, which uses the reseller ID and my parameters. So it feeds back in the header so you can get the next page, and then just returns it. So, and then it just goes back and forth until you run out of pages. And then from there, I just followed sort of the same idea as the billing workflow, the billing count. So same sort of standard company ID, company, just so I can kind of match it. And then take that and feed those customer IDs into here, doing the exact same thing for getting the users. So this one just gets all the users, same thing. The only difference is it's customers users page instead of just customers. And then it does the same type of call. Where's my call? Right here. So customers, customer ID, and then the users. And then it'll just loop back and forth until it runs out of pages, and then I create my users and grab all the information that I want for the users with list comprehension. That is subworkflow inside a subworkflow inside my master billing count workflow. So this one just pulls out the information result. This one was kind of weird with returning the results, so I had to publish and then loop through it using list comprehension to get the information I wanted. And has like 1 billion successful tasks and a ton of data. And that's it. More to the billing workflow that I keep adding to. It's becoming monstrous.
That is wild.
So I have given this to Chase as well. So he has a sort of updated version of it. So I'm hoping that I have central counts and a few other things that were added in here that he was going to get pushed back into the billing count crate. So it's a work in progress, and hopefully I can keep feeding more and more back in.
That's great. What do you think the next biggest gap or hurdle that you're gonna come upon will be?
I think the biggest hurdle is adding the data. like just trying to follow the same spec, the result is very messy, and like I guess there's got to be some sort of filter or something put on the results, so everything comes back alphabetical, which doesn't exactly line up where you want. And to get the headers, I don't use Python, and I'm like with using Jinja, I have to specify where I want my headers to end up. That is the biggest challenge, finding, because then like my headers are created dynamically from like the data that I'm pulling. So with the header being dynamically created, trying to organize them that's meaningful is extremely difficult.
That's impressive.
But yeah, it's a monster. If you guys look at the billing count crate and then look at this one, it's probably 3 times the size now.
Andrew, you really said, start with a small flow to get to understand Rewst, and just threw that completely out of the window, eh?
Yes. Yeah. George is aware. he was there for the original.
Oh no.
And it's grown.
To be fair, you did say that. And do you mind just zooming all the way out, because there's a number of people that were in the chat were just discussing what it actually looks like again.
Twin Towers.
Monstrous.
Oh no.
Kind of reminds me of that song 99 Bottles of Beer on the Wall.
Yeah.
Workflow tasks on the canvas.
Yeah.
I keep moving it. My problem is that I have to keep, I might just scrap the notes. And
they're hard to move. Well, yeah.
I wish I had like a select all, rather than, I think it's when you control, it creates a note, right? Yeah, if I could grab, instead of creating a note, if I could grab the actions and then pull them around, that would be awesome.
Isn't it control select or something? If you can multi-select.
Yeah, you can multi-select holding shift.
It's shift, yeah. Hold on shift.
Is it shift? The last time I did that, I completely broke this.
It might be your note. It's your note. So you might want to just move the note to the right-hand side of all the actions while you try and shift move them.
You can also move it to the back.
Yeah.
I think you can do that in the Jinja, but that's not very fun.
So if I was going to nitpick with Rewst, this is where it would be, because why on earth can't all of the input just be...
There you go. Try holding shift and drag from beside them all, and it should create a box you can select with.
It looks like a note, but it's not a note.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can drag them all at once.
Hey, I learned something today.
Now, if you duplicate those, though, when you paste them, it keeps the originals highlighted, not the new ones. So
yeah, don't duplicate.
I'm assuming you bumped into that.
Press delete.
Yeah.
Also, if you use the one thing for you, Andrew, if you use this in your pagination section, if you use set variable rather than no ops, you can then use task.task on the set variable option, so they won't show up in your context every time they add more data. So it can help you keep your context a hell of a lot smaller.
Right. With having like a billion things.
Yeah, I shared a workflow about 2 weeks ago in the workflow forum using set variables instead to do the exact same thing.
Is that another core task you're talking about?
It's one that transforms, I believe.
Okay.
Transforms or Rewst actions. The set variable action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see your hand raised there.
Do you have a question?
No. No. You're on mute.
I'm mute.
Might have been raising the roof too.
Just raising the roof.
Anyway, that is my continuation on my monster workflow that just keeps growing and growing.
It looks good.
Getting there.
Awesome. That's so cool.
I haven't even started the automation part of it, actually like updating the ConnectWise agreements. I haven't even got there yet. This is still data collection.
Oh wow, that's cool. Just like getting it all in one place.
Yeah.
That's like exactly how my ADHD brain works. I'm like, I need to see everything all in one spot and then decide what to do with it.
Yeah, like I store the results, so the results get turned into a CSV. Oh, I added an additional workflow that takes the CSV and shoves it in SharePoint to where we store our billing information. So the CSV gets dumped into SharePoint daily. So that one's kind of cool. But I would show it off, but it's got some of our like tenant information and stuff in it.
That's cool.
If I make it more generic, then I'll share the workflow for like putting things in. It's kind of hard coded right now, but I'd like to have it where you can just put in like your site name and like the folder that you want to put whatever document into, and then I'll share that workflow, and then anybody can use it one day.
That would be great. Cool. All right, I'm going to give you guys a serious 2.5 minutes to think about whether there's anything you want to talk about in the last 3 while I show you quickly something from my side. And so then you can have the awkward silence in your brain while I'm going through my side of things. All right, can you see my timer app?
Yep.
I was like,
Yes.
I wanted to learn how to make a timer app. But then I was like, I don't want it to just be any timer app. Everybody makes a timer app. So I was like, what if it could have a whole bunch of URL parameters that actually define what it does and how it acts, and then be developer first from the perspective of being able to actually be used in a workflow or in an integration. So I was like, okay, so let me throw a whole bunch of parameters on here. So, you could say that you want to pre-fill through whatever, like in a workflow, for example, you could have tasks names or identifiers or a specific webhook if you were creating a one-off, and just kind of have that all showing up in the thing already. So for example, here, I'm just going to put so I'm going to say that I have issues. And then that's, it comes through with my variables there. But then I'm also going to say I want it to be and identifier, now to grab ticket number. And then I also want it to have a duration, an auto start, and there we go. So now it's auto started because I've set it to auto start true. I can add in a bunch of notes, press stop, and then because I've configured this in the global settings already, it's already configured here. If I wanted to send my results to a webhook, I can preview the payload data. If it's going to be increased or decreased, I can update that. And then when I complete that task, it'll actually send to a webhook. So I had just a workflow that I created a webhook for it to receive on. And then it just receives all that data back. So just a simple, like nothing special about it, timer app, but with intentional developer-focused inputs and outputs to make it useful working with other systems.
That's excellent, Ash. For the folks that are like, they go down rabbit holes and they forget to lift their head, if you start a timer like this from a ticket and you know that you need to stop after at least 15, 30 minutes, whatever it is, so that you could, make sure that it's time worth spending. It's a great little tool. I love it.
Just a fun little example of how you can use HTTP endpoints and the receipt of information from them in your workflows.
Well, you could even set like a bookmark or something like that for a 15-minute timer, 20-minute timer, or whatever, right? And just
Yeah,
click on
embed
whichever
it.
one you need.
Oh, and then the thing I didn't show you at the bottom, so it's all like, that was just an example of being like local first. But then if you wanted to, obviously I don't pay attention to the things, but I could actually see all of my completed tasks here, and I can download the JSON for them and then clear it all out of my local storage afterwards. Anybody have anything they want to talk about, discuss, ask questions? Last few minutes.
I have one question I need to pose to the group. I am in desperate need of a new work from home office chair and was wondering who had any recommendations.
What's your budget?
Depends on whether there'll be reimbursements available or not, or
Aaron will probably not reimburse a Herman Miller chair, but those are amazing.
I was gonna say, depending on how you sit, either a Herman Miller Embody if you're a bit of a chair goblin, and if not, then the steel case gesture. It's fantastic.
I think I am a chair goblin, really. I definitely need more lumbar support. I'm getting a little bit of a hunch, and I was at I've given myself a little bit of scoliosis, I think, as well, because I sit on my foot, like I kind of pop the foot under and sit on my ankle. If anybody else does that, so anything, you the same, Jim Barry? Yeah.
The Embody
do that on a gesture.
It is the only comfortable position.
Oh yeah,
it is. It's so bad for you. And then we've got Riggs on our team who's like, I spend 98% of my workday standing. I'm like, how do you do that? Do you just have metal legs?
Take a look at the Herman Miller Embody. It's built to support you doing that.
It's called Herman Miller. Keep it in a
Embody.
Embody.
Oh boy, yeah, EMBODY.
And the steel case series. I'd go and try both.
Really good.
Same one, Ray?
No, the steel case is the vendor. The gesture by them is what I have.
And actually, I see you've got was it Secret Lab? I see a lot of people have those. You recommend the Secret Lab ones too?
I always recommend Canadian companies.
Oh, there it is. Didn't know. That could shoot to the top. That could shoot to the top.
Isn't Secret Labs Polish?
The Embody is a cool $2,000 if you got that.
I don't know if I.
They're like 1,200.
Yeah,
it's $19.95 right now on the website.
They have a Canadian bot entity then.
Yeah, Secret Labs is a Polish company with Singaporean roots.
But why is their website .ca?
There's a lot of
Amazon.ca.
Yeah, exactly.
The budget
Amazon has .ca. Their main website was .ca.
So we can order in Canada. The budget question is interesting though, because my immediate thing is not to be cheap, but maybe like $2,000 for a chair is a lot of money. But now I'm kind of like, it's sitting in it every really single day for with 8 hours.
With the warranties that you can get through the manufacturer with these, I've gone through I think 3 different steel case gestures, and they just mail me a new one whenever something's off.
We have Herman Millers in the office, and we just moved. We didn't buy new Herman Miller chairs. We simply moved all the chairs and called them and said, like, hey guys, there's a couple with some scratches. There's a couple with some pockets that aren't sitting well anymore. Some have like an issue with the headrest. They come over, they fix it. They just send someone over to actually come fix the chair where you are. It's absolutely brilliant.
Okay, I will investigate. I'll investigate and let you all know and show you at an open mic in the near future my lovely new chair.
You only got one back. Take care of it.
Yes.
True. This is true. Cool. Thanks for the recommendations, folks.
All right. And it's time. I'm going to see you out with my light mode, dark mode rave party here. Have a good long weekend, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Enjoy the weekend.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Meow.
Happy Independence Day.
Bye.